What is going on, everyone? Griffin here, and we are going to be talking about Action Economy Simplified. So let's head over and let's talk about it. So something that we have talked about quite a bit in the past is Essence, but we're going to give a full breakdown and presentation of exactly what Essence is and how it affects the different aspects of the game overall. So Essence is essentially how players will manage their action economy. The Essence system will impact the different pillars of play in dramatically different ways, but the core idea of Essence remains the same. For each action that you take, it consumes Essence. In each section below, Essence will be expanded upon to provide further definitions along with examples of how Essence is consumed, refunded, and gained. So basic actions. Basic actions are actions that all characters have access to. These actions will require one Essence to perform, but can be increased in various ways to improve their effectiveness. For example, you can use one Essence to move the entire movement speed of your character, whereas you can spend 2 Essence to double your movement or 3 Essence to triple your movement speed. Lastly, some basic actions may require additional functions in order to be successful at completing the tasks. These additional functions will not require an Essence to perform, but additional die rolls may be required. For example, if you use the hide action, you may be required to perform an expertise check against another creature's judgment resistance check to successfully hide from the enemy. So here are all of the basic actions that you have access to. Expertise checks, you expend 1 Essence to perform an expertise check. You must communicate what expertise you're attempting and how you strive to complete the task. Once this is clarified, you must make the required rolls to determine the outcome. So expertise is kind of like your skills, and we'll of course go into that more in depth in the future, but you can call for an expertise check at any time. And also, instead of the DM or the Oracle in this situation, instead of that person calling for a specific skill check, the players call for specific skill checks. So if the players want to do something, then they determine how they want to do it and what skill that they want to use to be able to perform it. Like I said, I'll go into that a little bit more in the depth in the future, but to do skill checks, it does require an Essence. So for move, you must expend 1 Essence to move up to your character's movement speed. This movement can be broken up into segments. If a player has 30 feet of movement, they have the ability to move 10 feet, perform an action, and move the remaining 20 feet, consuming 1 Essence for movement and an additional Essence for the action that was performed. Attack, you expend 1 Essence to attack an enemy creature. When making a basic action attack, you can attack with your hands, improvise weapons, or equipped weapons. Open, you expend 1 Essence to open a door, chest, or gate. If the object you are attempting to open is locked, you may be required to perform an expertise check in an attempt to pick the lock. Search, you expend 1 Essence to search areas or specific things such as furniture, chests, or bodies. You may be required to perform an expertise check if you are trying to locate something specific or if there are hidden compartments within the item you are searching. Use, you expend 1 Essence to use an item such as drinking a potion, eating something, or activating levers or pushing buttons. Hide, you expend 1 Essence to duck into cover. Once line of sight is broken from an enemy, you may be required to perform an expertise check if a creature is either aware of you or actively looking for you. Assist, you expend 1 Essence to assist another creature with completing a task. While assisting another creature, you will be unable to attack, react, or make resistance checks until the assistance has been completed. Evade, you expend 1 Essence to attempt to evade an enemy's reaction. This will require a fortitude resistance check against the attack roll to complete. Restrain, you expend 1 Essence to attempt to restrain an enemy. When an enemy is restrained, they will be unable to move and must expend all Essence to break the restraint. You must make an attack roll against the enemy creature while they make a vigor resistance check. If you win the contest, the creature is restrained. Additionally, you will be unable to attack or react while restraining a creature. Knock, you expend 1 Essence to attempt to knock an enemy prone or off of a ledge. If a creature is knocked from a ledge, the creature will take falling damage. You must make an attack roll against the enemy creature while they make a vigor resistance check. If you win the contest, the creature will be knocked. Stand, you expend 1 essence to stand after being knocked into a crouching or prone position. Reaction, you expend 1 essence to react to a creature that is moving up to you or moving within your range. You have the option to use another basic action, mastery option, or expertise check when this happens with an additional essence use, and we'll get into reactions in the future and how those work. Focus, we talked about this a little bit with the spell casting. You expend 1 essence to focus on a mastery option. This will maintain the mastery option until your next turn unless otherwise noted on the mastery option, or unless another mastery option has influence on the effect. Additionally, you can use focus during expertise checks to give yourself favor. If you use focus during an expertise check, it nullifies all assistance that is being provided. Valor, you expend 1 essence to consume valor at a rate of 1d4 per essence. We'll go into valor a little bit more in depth in the future as well, because this is the main healing mechanic. There's no spells that allow you to heal, but you have a dice pool that all players pull from to be able to heal themselves. Essence mastery options. Mastery options are unique options that players have access to. These mastery options will require 1 essence in order to use, but can be increased in various ways to improve the effectiveness of mastery options. For example, if you use a mastery option that does an AoE of fire damage in a 20-foot radius, you can use an additional essence to increase the size of effect. Additionally, you can use another mastery option to increase the damage of the effect if it manages to break a creature's warding, doing damage to HP. Lastly, some mastery options may require additional functions in order to be successful at using a mastery option. These additional functions will not require essence to perform, but additional die rolls may be required. So basically, mastery options is one of the things that is kind of a basic action, but it's unique per character. I mean, some characters may pick the same mastery options, but it's very much unique to the specific characters. Essence augmentation, we talked about this a little bit last week with the spell casting. While using essence for basic actions and mastery options, you will have the ability to augment or boost these in very interesting ways. You can increase the size, length, or radius of certain spell effects, target multiple people, or close gaps more efficiently by augmenting your mastery options or basic actions. To augment basic actions or mastery options, you must use additional essence to increase the effects. The only restriction when augmenting your actions with essence should be your imagination. So we're going to touch on movement since it's such an important part of how the essence system actually works. Each character will start with a base movement speed of 30 feet unless other features notate a speed difference. While in combat, you must expend 1 essence to move up to your movement speed. However, movement speed can be broken up into smaller segments as you see fit. Performing basic actions or mastery options as you move, consuming additional essence as you perform these actions. Movement is classified as traversing the environment in multiple ways, from walking, running, and crawling to climbing, swimming, and even flying. Please see below for a breakdown of the various movement speeds for the different types of movement. So walking or running, each character will have a base movement speed of 30 feet. You can flavor this movement however you see fit. Climbing, each character will start with a base climbing speed of 10 feet per essence. Swimming, each character will start with a base swimming speed of 20 feet per essence. Jumping, each character will start with a base jumping speed of 15 feet per essence. So basically, whenever you jump, you can clear 15 feet or, 3 5-foot squares per jump. But you can augment that. You can make yourself jump, 45 feet if you wanted to, but it's going to consume all of your essence in order to do so. Crawling, each character will start with a base crawling speed of 10 feet. Any character can choose to crouch or go prone at any time, but an additional essence will need to be expended to return upright. Flying, if a character gains access to a mastery option that allows flight, their movement speed is doubled while flying. Essence and exploration. So essence and exploration will have the same function as essence while in combat. You will have the ability to determine what you do during your turn in alacrity or as a reaction to other players' actions in an attempt to provide assistance. Essence and social engagements. Essence will gauge how many attempts a player has to gather information or sway an NPC during a social encounter. Each player will have access to 3 essence during character creation, and players can use this essence during social engagements just as they can during combat or exploration. When using an expertise check, mastery option, or basic action during a social engagement, it will consume the essence until that social engagement has ended. This will allow all players to be involved in the social engagement as they would like. So, and we'll go into this just a little bit more in the future, of course, but the way that the system is designed is at the beginning of each section, everybody will roll their alacrity, which is basically their initiative order. And that initiative order will stay consistent with some variations. You can re-roll it. The DM can re-roll it whenever they want to. There may be mastery options that changes the alacrity order up from time to time. But basically, you're going to roll it at the beginning of the session, and it's going to stay that same alacrity order through the entire session that you're playing out. Whenever you're doing exploration or social, everybody is going to move around using essence. So if you have 4 players, let's say you have Joe, Bob, Sue, and John, right? Joe goes first, has 3 essence, can basically decide what they want to do. And then it goes next to Bob, right? And then after Bob decides what Bob wants to do with their 3 essence, then it goes to Sue, right? And then Sue does what Sue does with their 3 essence, and then it moves to John, right? And that works for exploration, that works for social, and that also works for combat. So basically, it's kind of the way that Shadow Dark does it, but whenever I was designing this, I had no idea what Shadow Dark was. I was working on this before the Shadow Dark Kickstarter, before people started making videos about it, the whole 9 yards. And I always wondered to myself, like, why don't you just roll initiative once and everybody's in that initiative order for that entire session? And if players want to swap initiative up, they can, or if there's a specific like preferred initiative order, then you could do that and it could roll over even from session to session at that point. But you give players a meta currency that they have access to that allows them the freedom to do the things that they want to without stepping on everybody else's toes, right? So you'll have 3 essence. If you want to move up to, you know, a dresser or whatever it may be, and you want to search the dresser, then you can. That's going to require 2 essence in order to do so. And if you want to search something else, or if you want to look at something else or whatever it may be, you can do that. It still allows for that freedom and flexibility of other RPG systems, but it streamlines everything where it's like, this is your turn. This is how many things you can do on your turn whenever you're, you know, deciding what you want to do. And then once those 3 things are done, then it's over. So if the party wants to split up, or if someone wants to engage into a social encounter, or if someone wants to do something very interesting during an exploration encounter and they want to try something or investigate something or whatever it may be, they still have the freedom to do something like that. And it allows for, at least in my opinion from playtesting this, it allows for more people to get involved in the action, because you always have people in some way, shape, or form whenever they're playing a tabletop role-playing game where they're a little bit more reserved, they're a little bit more, you know, out of the action. You know, maybe they only like certain aspects of the game, whether it be combat, whether it be the social side or the exploration side, whatever it may be. It takes those people and it kind of takes them out of their comfort zone, but allows them to enjoy the game in the way that they see fit, right? So if it's someone that enjoys combat but doesn't maybe enjoy the exploration side of things all that much, during the exploration, you know, moments in the game, they still have things that they could be doing that might help them in combat. Whether it be, I want to use this mastery option to like help buff my team, or I want to use this mastery option to help this person, you know, search something, or to provide assistance to this person, or whatever it may be. They're still contributing. They still may be finding unique ways that they're enjoying themselves overall during that, when traditionally they may not like the exploration side. And with Essence, like I said, it's action economy simplified. Everybody starts with 3 essence. You have the ability to gain more essence if you want to. You have to spend boons on that. We'll get into that in a future video. But this is the baseline that everybody starts with. Here's your turn order for everything, whether it be combat, exploration, or social. And here is how everything shakes out. And with the turn order being the way that it is from the get-go, if one player wants to engage into a social encounter, then they can by themselves. Or if one player walks into a room and gets attacked by an enemy, the whole group isn't in combat. It's just that one player that was attacked, and they can decide what they want to do. Do they want to call for help? Do they want to attack the person? Do they want to run out of the room and try to find help, or whatever it may be? They have to make those critical decisions in those moments. And I think that Essence allows for players to do some really cool and interesting things by giving them the freedom that they desperately want to. And you don't have people stepping on people's toes. You don't have people like trying to, steal the spotlight or anything like that. It just allows them to be better. It allows for a more interesting, cohesive gameplay experience in a game that is very party focused, right? That is very group play focused. And I like that a lot. One thing that I like about some of the more traditional RPGs are the freedom that you have whenever you are doing exploration, or whenever you're doing, social encounters, or things like that. I do like that a lot. And I thought that initially having an essence system with a initiative system with alacrity that is going to be set from the beginning of the session was going to cause the game to slow down and take away some of that magic, that kind of free form, free flowing magic that you kind of had with the exploration side of things. And in reality, it doesn't slow the game down all that much, or it doesn't take away from that free flow, right? Because as the Oracle, you have the opportunity to say, well, we're not going to calculate movement feet right here until we get into combat. So if you want to move, 30, 40, 50, 60 feet and do something, you can. You have 3 actions. That allows for that flexibility that the Oracle can have with their own players. So they say, okay, maybe expertise checks, doesn't require essence. So you can do as many skill checks and call for as many checks as on the player side as you want to, without any repercussions whatsoever. There's that flexibility there for people to basically play the game the way that they want to play the game, while still involving everyone at the table and also being fair overall. And lastly, having all these different meta currencies that tabletop role-playing games have is kind of ridiculous to me. I know that a lot of D6 systems uses basically the D6 as their meta currency to do dice pulls and things like that. But a lot of traditional, TTRPGs that use a D20 system have 2, 3, 4 actions, bonus actions, reactions, spell slots, martial maneuvers, martial actions, key points. You also have sorcerer points. You have all these weird little meta currencies where it's almost too much. A new player that's coming into that may not be familiar with any type of games whatsoever, whether it be board games, tabletop role-playing games, or video games, may not know how to realistically look at all of this stuff and figure out how to compartmentalize it and use it in the way that needs to be used. That's why we're trying to simplify things down just a little bit. Here's one meta currency. It's going to be your spell casting. It's going to be your martial. It's going to be your key points. It's going to be your sorcerer points. It's going to be your bonus actions. It's going to be your reactions. It's going to be everything that you need it to be. And in combat, whenever the turn order resets, so basically if you have 4 players and 4 enemies after all 8 participants in that combat go, it resets everyone's essence level back to 3. Whenever the party's exploring, the essence resets after your turn. It's very easy to keep track of. Okay, I'm in a social encounter. Here's the things that I can do, and here's the essence that I have access to. Oh, I'm in an exploration scenario. Here's the things that I have access to, and here's the things that I can do. Oh, I'm in combat. Here's the things that I have access to, and here's the things that I can do. It's very simple. It's very streamlined. And I don't know why a lot of TTRPGs are trying to go a little bit more convoluted, I guess is the right word. People are trying to make things so difficult, and so there's so many things to keep track of and so many different ways to do things, this, that, and the other. And I get it. A lot of people like that. A lot of people like micromanaging all this meta currency and all this stuff, but it takes away from the fun and experience whenever you're more focused on managing your resources than playing the game overall. And that's what I want to do. I want to put the focus and emphasis on a shared storytelling experience that the players and also the Oracle have, as opposed to basically playing Civilization or StarCraft or any other type of economy-based, simulator. That's what I'm looking to do here. But be sure to let me know what you think in the comments down below. What are your thoughts on a simplified action economy? Is this something that you think is very cool and interesting and something that you would really like to try in the future? Or do you think having all these different meta currencies and all these different ways of like flavoring how these different classes and things kind of roll, does that make the game better for you? Be sure to let me know in the comments down below. Also, be sure to check that description for links to Facebook, Discord, and Twitter. Those are the places to contact me. There'll also be a link to the current master document for this system in the description down below. So if you're interested, be sure to check that document out and let me know what you think of the system overall. If you haven't already, please be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. If you've already subscribed to the channel, then consider hitting that join button to become one of the 256 crew members. Lastly, on Thursdays and also on Sundays, I will be streaming here on YouTube. So if you are interested and available, please feel free to stop by and say hello there. Thanks for watching, guys.